Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second round of the SEC Race Department Championship here live on Glacier TV. It's the rSeat.net 45 minutes of Interlagos, and with me in the commentary booth I am Will Vincent, and that is Rob Sutherland and Rob Cuss as well. We're about 6.5 minutes into qualifying for these drivers right now. They've got 2 laps in this place of a 10-minute qualifying session to try and get themselves as high up the grid as possible. Right now, setting the pace is Marcin Skrzypczak with a time of 1 minute 31.433. But Mr. Cuss, I'm going to bring you in first. Interlagos, this 2.68 mile racetrack. It's very, very technical, but also one of the most fun tracks in all of iRacing.
Indeed, brilliant track, lots of technical, fast sections. Have to hit your apexes, you can't look at them and wave at them. Got to make sure they all count. M5's critical, turn 3 is very critical to the lap. And then obviously coming in, start finish, starting the lap, the centre S, if you get that wrong, you can kiss your lap goodbye.
Not only can you kiss your lap goodbye, you can pretty much kiss your race away as well, especially early on. We're going to have huge action down into the centre S. In fact, perhaps the entire first lap is going to be full of drama. This track, as I say, measures 2.68 miles at length, 15 corners. And right now in second place in qualifying, actually, Teemu Iivonen, a time of 1 minute 31.496. So as it stands right now, he's going to be lining up alongside Marcin Skrzypczak in the first row. Rami Kaukola currently scored in the 3rd position in qualifying, JB Massida in 4th, and is starting in 5th, Pablo Lopez in 6th. And don't forget, of course, to all the viewers, if you'd like to look at Pablo Lopez's onboard string, then you can do that by going to racedepartment.com/forum/chat. And of course, we'd like to give a big shout out to the sponsor of this race, that is rSeat.net, presenting sponsor of the 45 minutes of Interlagos. So I'm going to bring Sutherland into the conversation very quickly. Sutherland, the way this team championship works is each of the drivers are basically allowed to race half of the season. So we've had a 90-minute race at Sebring, now we're at a 45-minute race, a sprint race here at Interlagos, and we see that some of the teams have kept their driver lineup the same, other teams have got different drivers involved here today, and that's going to make things interesting, see whether we've got, you know, sprint experts compared to the more endurance experts.
Yeah, it also means that if they've brought out their stronger drivers for the second race, we're going to see some strong results, hopefully, if they finish. Certainly we've seen the Radical drivers, the 2 drivers in the Radicals, Pablo and I believe Scott Michaels, but I don't think Scott Michaels is around. They're out again. We can also see back down to the bottom of the grid. From the overall results, actually, Talk Free Racing, Phil Wilson is out, and I can't actually find his colleague as well. In fact, we have Mr. Ilbrink here for the Radicals, I think, as well.
Yeah, Paul Ilbrink, of course, you see him on Glacier TV very often in the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. Don't forget, you can keep in contact with us on Twitter, use the hashtag Glacier TV. I'd like to give a shout out to Stuart Pocock very quickly, also Dan Hawkins as well, getting involved in the conversation on racedepartment.com right now. But the checkered flag is about to come out. It's basically drivers on their lap right now. This is it. Checkered flag is out in the air. Let's have a look, see if we've got any drivers on the racetrack. We have Teemu Iivonen right now. He is on his last qualifying lap. In fact, no, he's not. He's on his cool-down lap. So it looks like everyone has done their qualifying. So we're going to head it straight over to the race grid, and on row number 1 it'll be Marcin Skrzypczak getting pole position in that number 25 machine, a time of 1 minute 31.433. Lining up alongside him in row number 1 is Teemu Iivonen in the number 20 car with a time of 1 minute 31.496. Row number 2 will be Teemu Iivonen and JB Massida. Row 3, Andrew Starr and Pablo Lopez. In row number 4 will be Rami Kaukola and Mikael Hellen. In row number 5 will be Mads Burr and Mohamed Patel. In row 6, Harold Stradler and Rusto Capet. Row 7 will be Mirko Saletti and Diego Cumini. In row number 8, Rens Broekman and Ludwig Andersen. In row number 9, Jason Lover and Paul Ilbrink. Row number 10 will be Kreshmir Pruniski and Eduardo Zemins. The rest of the qualifying grid will be coming up on your screen momentarily. Standing start for these races. So we've got ourselves about 60 seconds before we go to green flag racing, and Mr. Cuss, it's going to be crazy down into turn number 1.
It certainly is. I don't know who to put my money on, but I hope Pablo has a good first turn, because he's Mr. Unlucky in iRacing at the moment. I see My teammate Paul as well, coming from, he'll make a strong start, he's always good from the start, but you got to look out for Mads Burr. He's brilliant around this track, very good racer, quite clean, quite aggressive. Anders Dahl as well, just starting alongside Pablo. That'd be a good fight into turn 1. And then looking a little bit further down, like as Jason Lovett, always quick, and he'll be looking for a quick start. Probably look for some moves down the outside. A lot of people try and do that. A few people will try and make it 3 wide. Should be entertaining.
Should be entertaining indeed. We've got ourselves about 15 seconds before those lights go on the iRacing.com gantry to get us underway here in the rSeat.net. 45 minutes of Interlagos waiting for those lights to go red, and then they will go green. Waiting now. Will the start go as these drivers' plans? Green is go here at Interlagos, and Skrzypczak getting himself a good start. Also Iivonen, a little bit sluggish off the line, but getting himself into that second position nicely. JB Massida looks like he's going to try and get that third position away from Teemu Iivonen, and indeed he does, as Rami Kaukola also now up into the 4th position. A good start by him, and the start will round out your top 5. Pablo Lopez is through turn number 1. He's currently running in the 6th position, and right now trying to look down to the inside of Anders Dahl. Dahl goes defensive as they work themselves down into turn number 4 for the first time, but the race lead is between Teemu Iivonen and Skrzypczak. Skrzypczak is going to just about get the job done there, but for a moment, Sutherland, it looks as though that Iivonen was going to take that race lead away.
Yeah, he was. We're right up side by side now to coming into the right-hand corner as well. Almost 3 at a time as they start to now go up the hill.
Coming up the hill for the first time to Fodura, and then turn number 7. Now this is where you get into the really technical part of the racetrack, turn number 9. And this is where Iivonen is losing out a little bit, and now he's under pressure from JB Massida as they work themselves now down into Pico de Pato, turn number 10. They come out of here, and this is where the track now starts to speed up again as they work themselves into turn 11, and then the always tricky turn number 12, Mikael corner. And as it stands right now, Skrzypczak is getting himself a bit of a lead. We'll get confirmation as they come past the start finish line, but your top 5 right now, it is JB Massida in 3rd, and his Dahl is sat right now in 5th because he's got, of course, Rami Kaukola, who started this race in the 7th position, now running in the 4th spot. And as they come down to turn number 1, once again, you saw there Massida trying to make the move as you got a car going wide actually, and that is Kaukola, who's under a lot of pressure right now from Anders Dahl in the battle for that 4th and 5th position. Pablo Lopez currently scored in the 6th position. Mohamed Patel in 7th. He started this race in 10th. So a good start by him. Mikael Hellen is currently running in the 8th position, and then you've got in 9th Risto Capet, and then running out your top 10 is currently Mads Burr. But importantly, for the most part, Mr. Cass, it's been a clean start.
Yeah, and we've just had a massive off between the cars 11th place to 15th. Paul Hilbrink just missed it. I just switched to it just then. Let me just quickly fire back and see what happened.
Meanwhile, we have Pablo Lopez into the 5th position, Rob.
Yeah, there. Just a little insider into the right. I'll cut into that one, just inside and right. Anders Dahl, just let him have it, this one, and there. I think he's just going to hunt back, but he has got a lot of pressure now from Mohamed in 7th.
And one of the important things about this racetrack as well is you can take 2 very different setup options. You've got these 2 huge straightaways coming out of here right now. The cars will work themselves through Mikael corner, turn number 12, all the way down to the center S. A long straightaway, even though there's a little kink and curve in there, you know, it's still pretty much flat out. Then you've got that straightaway as well from exit turn 3 all the way down into turn 4. So some drivers will be very low on their wing and having to hold it on for the infield section. Other drivers perhaps going for a more neutral balance, but right now, that gap between Marcin and Skrzypczak in the 25 machine and Teemu Iivonen is now up to 9/10 of a second, Mr. Klaas.
It is. Just to quickly shoot back to that incident, it was Mads Burr losing it in turn 3. He had a little contact with the car in front, and that set everyone off behind. Cars going left, right and centre. No massive damage. It looks like most of them continue, so we'll see if they can fight their way back up.
Currently working ourselves on the 3rd lap of the race. Don't forget, it's a 45-minute race here today. But right now, these cars have done about 4 minutes worth of racing. And it's that point of the race now where the field will start to get a little bit more spread out. You had the opportunity to perhaps make some moves early on. Your big movers so far, you have yourselves Well, you've got Massida up 1 position, you have Kaukola up 3 positions, and then you have Mohammed Patel up 3 positions as well. But Paul Ilbrink was up 8 positions at the start of this race. Also, in the 19th position, Philippe Verber up 10 positions early on this race. He is the biggest mover so far. Jason Lovett's lost himself 1 position so far. He's currently running in the 18th position. Difficult day for him. Whereas, meanwhile, we're having a look right now at the number 27 machine of Jason Lovett. He's currently battling for position in that ineX racing car with, let's have a look back to who it is. He's battling with Philippe Verber and also even Fernandez in about the 16th, 17th and 18th positions on the racetrack. So as they come past the start-finish line once again, the gap is up to almost a second there between Skrzypczak and Teemu Iivonen in that battle for the 1st and 2nd position. I'd like to give a big shout out to Jeremy Boutalippe. I do apologise, I am dyslexic when I say JB Massida, of course me JB Massida. But he's going to be running in the 3rd position in that Falcon GP car. And right now, that 37 machine, looking as though he's not quite close enough, Mr. Sutherland, to kind of close up to the rear of Teemu Iivonen, but slowly starting to pull a bit of a gap from that 66 car of Rami Kaukola.
And that's very good as he just slides through the apex there, and Kaukola took a little bit of a wilder entry into that. And we'll see how the pace settles down for him now. He's obviously got a lot of cars in his rear view mirror.
And just to give you an update on retirees as well, we have 1 car classified off the race, that is Rise Gardiner, but we also have Harold Stradler currently sat on pit road in the Black Rebels car. That 39 car is sat on pit road, and it looks like he had some damage to his right rear, so involved in an incident early on in this race. And in fact, it looks like he might have had an engine failure because there's all sorts of smoke coming out from that car. But check it with your race leaders as they come past the start finish, and we'll get confirmation of their times. And this is right now going to be the critical stage of the race for Teemu Iivonen. He needs to maintain that gap within about a second, 1.2 seconds, if he's going to keep the draft from these straightaways as they come past the line. That time he was faster, in 1 minute 32.224 for Teemu Iivonen, and then for Marcin it was a 1 minute 32.337. Meanwhile, battle going on the racetrack right now. The 99 car looking to the outside there of Rens Broekman. Battle for position 11 from 12. And Mr. Sutherland, it looked as though that Salati was trying to make the move on the outside, not able to do it, however.
Yeah, very brave. They are teammates behind at the back of that. As one goes very, very wide going on to Curva de Sol. Sometimes with these Centre S's, you get through corner 1 all right, and then you forget about corner 2. And that's where it gets a little bit unstuck, and that's looks like what happened. And that's what Mr. Cuss alluded to early in the race as well.
Yeah, and Diego Cumula going past Mikael Salati. So the 2 teammates swapping positions. Let's see whether or not Cumula will be able to try and make the move there and catch back up to the rear of Rens Broekman, who in turn is trying to hunt down Paul Ilbrink right now in the number 40 Radical Steel Series car as they work themselves down into turn number 8 once again. Just so the viewers know as well, race control talks to the drivers before the race. You'll see there's parts of this racetrack which are tarmac on the outside of the corners. If there's green asphalt, you're allowed to use that to basically use a little bit extra of the track limits. However, if there's no green asphalt there, you're trying to gain time. For example, the blue asphalt that you see right now, you cannot run wide there. And if you run wide and gain time, you'll be deemed to be basically cutting the track a little bit, and you'll get yourself a stop and hold penalty. But that battle right now, it does look as though that switch of position hasn't really helped, because they've fallen right now, Cuss, off the rear of Rens Broekman, that battle for the 11th position.
It seems so. It just seems like they've pushed too hard, maybe cooked their front tyres a little bit in the tight twisted sections, trying to catch up to the back of him, and just fallen away. McLaren's quite good for that. If you heat up the front tyres too much, you just suffer from understeer. And obviously Interlagos, with all its tight twisty sections, isn't the best track to be doing that on. So maybe they're just going to sit back and cool their tyres down and go again. And
that's one of the things, tyre temperature more than tyre wear. That is the issue in these McLaren MP4 GT3 cars. And right now, Anders Dahl looking as though he's very close to the rear of Pablo Lopez in the battle for the 5th and 6th position on the racetrack. So we'll check in on that for the time being. Right now, Pablo Lopez has had a good start to the race, one of the most popular drivers in all of iRacing, and the black stripe driver, of course, represented in the iRacing.com World Championship Series, driving for Team Radicals right now. But something he's got himself and his Dahl very close behind him, and Dahl, of course, he gave Lopez that position earlier on, But right now, looking as though Dahl is looking as though he's getting a bit feisty, sat there in that 6th position.
It also looks like he's been slowed down a little bit as well, so this isn't good for him because there's a big old gap in front of him, about 5 seconds from Mikael Hellen, who I think Mikael is one of the Black Rebel drivers.
Indeed, yeah, and I tell you what, they're trying to break away right now. And the thing is, from 8th position, which is Mikael Hellen in that 26 car, to Paul Iivonen, right now you have 5 seconds on the racetrack. So you've got yourself right now an 8-car breakaway. Mohammed Patel is still in the thick of it right now at 7th position. You see Anders Dahl actually taking a different line there through the centre S. This is going to give him a good run as they come through to corner de Sol. Turn number 3, of course, famous for that 2003 wet Brazilian Grand Prix, which became almost a Brazilian version of the World Champions. But here comes Anders Dahl down to the inside into turn number 4. Will he get the job done? It's so close there. Thinks better of it. Now he gets a good run for the centre of the corner here, and they're going to be 2 wides. They work themselves up the hill. Anders Dahl, will he get the job done as they come down into Ferradura? It's going to be so close to be on the outside line. Lopez will keep the line, and you saw there almost, Mr. Cuss, that Mohammed Patel was almost able to sneak it down the inside.
He almost stuck it up the inside. It just wasn't quite close enough. Pablo did a great job defending there. Took the, held his ground. Shame these 3 were fighting a little earlier, like 2 laps ago. They were actually on the back of the 3rd and 4th place drivers. But see Anders coming back at Pablo again. I think Mohammed should just let them fight it out and just get that a little bit closer. Maybe go for that opportune gap again if it opens up. Maybe into turn 1.
So right now you've got 4 cars separated by less than 2 seconds on the racetrack. Pablo Lopez in the number 12 machine. And then you've got Anders Dahl in the 38 car. He's now looking to the outside line. Will he try and do the cut under as they come past the start-finish line down into turn number 1? We'll keep an eye on that. But you've got Mohammed Patel right behind and then Mikael Hellen as well. So 4 cars as they come past the line. He's still separated by less than 2 seconds. Dahl on the outside line. And you see Mohammed Patel there down to the inside contact. And Patel will go past. And that is exactly what you were talking about. Patel was just waiting there for Dahl to make one move too quickly.
It's a track that you can do that on. If you set your car in the right place and just wait, you have to be patient, and it paid off from Patel there. And then maybe Anders Anders almost lost his position again. He's been forced wide.
He has gone wide, a little bit of a wiggle there as he came out of turn number 5. And now as they work himself up towards Ferradura again, he's got Mikael Hellen right behind him. But look how racy Mohammed Patel is. He's right up already to the rear of Pablo Lopez as they work themselves down into turn number 8 once again. Now they come down into Pinera, turn number 9 of this racetrack. And whilst this is all going on, they are losing time. They're now 2.5 seconds behind Rami Kaukola in the number 66 car, who's currently sat in the 4th position. So now you have yourself 2 packs of cars in the top 10, 3 packs of cars. You've got your 4 lead drivers. You've got Skrzypczak, then you've got Iivonen, then you have Massida, and then you have Kaukola. They are currently running within about 3.5 seconds of each other. Then you have a 2.5 second gap right now to Pablo Lopez, and then you've got Mohammed Patel and Anders Dahl involved in that battle as well as Mikael Hellen. Then Paul Iivonen is a further 5 seconds back in the 9th position, still under a lot of pressure right now from Rens Broekman. In fact, we'll check into that battle momentarily, because Broekman is right up to the rear of Iivonen as they work themselves down this front straightaway once again. They make that kink a little bit, and you see already Iivonen is very defensive as they work themselves down in turn number 1. Broekman's going to have to go the long way around. He'll try and brake later. He goes side by side as they work themselves into the centre S. Broekman out braking himself a little bit. Won't be able to do the cut under there, and that means he will stay in the 10th position. And this has also allowed Diego Komi to close that gap up a little bit. And you also got Ludwig Anderson trying to close that gap as well. But back to the battle between Lopez and Patel. So then it looks as though that Patel, he's got the speed, he's just not being able to find a gap right now, because Pablo Lopez driving beautifully defensively.
Yeah, well, Pablo's driving fantastic, but the move that Patel did earlier, he took advantage of the fights between Pablo and Anders. It showed fantastic racecraft. So now we'll just be settled down into a more one-on-one, where before Mohammed just took advantage of a little bit of a fight going on between them. So let's see how this settles out. I can have a look further back, and Mirko's tally, I think, has fallen all the way back by a few positions. I don't know. I remember that car being up alongside Diego Camilli. I think they're the same teammates.
They are, and he has fallen back a couple of positions. Those two are running line or stern on the racetrack. but Rens Broekman still looking as there. You see that Iivonen going a little bit wide, and Broekman wasn't able to get the job done. He was close there, and he lost momentum through the centre of Young Cow, which means he wouldn't get the momentum up the start of finish rate. But this might actually be into his favour, because he won't be able to make the move down into the centre S's, but coming out of Curve of the Soul, if he gets himself a good run, perhaps he might be able to get the job done. But
we just had small,
outside.
Yeah, small contact on the entrance to turn 1 there, banging doors basically. He had the draft, he had the side draft going. Pablo was really late on the brakes and made it stick, and obviously he's just pulled out a gap, but that's allowed Anders to get back up and Mikael behind him. So this is going to unfold into a fantastic race shortly, because Mikael's looking racy at the back of these 4.
Don't forget, of course, you can also watch Pablo Lopez's onboard stream by going to racedepartment.com/forums/live, or if you're watching it on tape delay, then of course it's on YouTube. But that battle right now for 5th and 6th position, Pablo Lopez and Mohamed Patel for 5th and 6th spots. To run through your top 10, it's Marcin Skrzypczak right now, your race leader. It is just about a second gap between himself and Teemu Iivonen. You got JB Massida, a further 1 second back in 3rd position. Rami Kaukola has fallen off the rear of those top 3 drivers right now, running in no man's land in the 4th position. Pablo Lopez now 4 seconds behind Kaukola in the 5th spot. Patel in 6th, and his star selling to Mikael Hellen in 8th. Paul Iivonen in 9th, and then Rens Broekman is running out your top 10. We still have a total of 32 cars running on the lead lap. Drivers scored laps down and out of the race. Miguel Angel Kami out of the race. Risto Capet out of the race. Ruade Zemans out of the race. Howard Stadler out of the race, and Race Gardner as well. But Patel, will he try and make the move here as they come past start-finish line? He tried it before, he's going to try it again. The outside line down into the centre S. They touch a little bit there, so close between those 2 drivers. Patel's going to try and go around the outside line. It's not going to work out for him, but will he try and get the cup under? Or will Anders Dahl come down to the inside? Dahl was looking very close there, and Patel had to abort that overtaking move. And he was trying on Pablo Lopez and just fall back into line, Sutherland.
Yeah. There's so many little lines around there. The biggest potential winner of that is they go 2 by 2 into Noah's Ark.
Oh! That was close there. Patel almost got run over by Anders Dahl.
This is great racing. There's probably War and Peace going on behind the grid somewhere, but this is fantastic racing.
By all 4. Brilliant driving.
How are they still on the circuit?
I don't know, very close corner racing here in the second round of the STC Race Department Championship. The rSeat.net 45 minutes of Interlagos as they work themselves down into Pinedo again. Those 4 drivers still separated by less than 2 seconds on the racetrack. The best battle we have on the racetrack right now. To give yourself an update on a couple of other battles, we've got Mads Burt and Jason Lover. They are battling right now for 16th and 17th positions on the racetrack. We'll cut over to that shortly, but right now we are waiting to see whether Patel can actually make the move on Pablo Lopez. He might have a chance. He goes a little bit squirrely there as they work themselves through Young Cow. But the issue is, as Anders Dahl had about 4 laps ago, if Patel goes wide into the corner and can't cut back into line in time, Dahl will be able to sneak it down the inside. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens between these 2 drivers, these 4 drivers actually. And don't forget, you've got Mikael Hellen there in the Black Rebels car, ready to pick up the pieces if any of these drivers come together. Now down to the inside comes Patel. Will he get the job done? He's got the inside line. They touched there, Pablo Lopez. Somehow they're able to keep it going. Lopez still able to get the job done. It's all kind of got together now. Here comes Dahl on the outside line. He's going to get past Patel. He'll get the run there. Lopez can't push him to the outside. Now Dahl, is he going to try and go 2? They're going to try and go 3 wide. Patel
on the grass.
All the way on the grass there. And they're almost 3 wide coming down into turn number 4 and 5. But round the outside will go Anders Dahl. He won't be quite able to get past Lopez. And they turn Pablo Lopez off. And Pablo Lopez into the wall, and Lopez will be out of the race.
And relax.
Yeah, indeed, and that was unlucky there for Lopez. I mean, they had the contact with himself and Mohamed Patel to turn number 1, and that kind of caused that chain reaction, because then Lopez got himself a little bit sideways as he came out of the centre rest, so he was coming down into Curve of the Soul. That allowed Anders Dahl to go around the outside, and having a look at the incident actually, we'll try and get our Glacier TV X-Low cam onto this, but coming down into turn number 5, actually, you had Mohamed Patel just give a little bit of a bump there to Pablo Lopez at pretty much exactly the same time that Anders Dahl and Pablo Lopez came together. You could argue that had Lopez not have had the tap from the rear, perhaps he might still be in this race.
It would have been a tough one. He just got unlucky. There's nowhere to go. Anders Dahl come quite far across the track, to be fair. Didn't seem to give the other guys a little bit of enough room, as they were quite quick as well, considering he was returning from off the track. Just racing, hard racing, and someone lost out.
Indeed, hard racing, and you know, again, Pablo Lopez, one of the luckiest drivers in all of iRacing, is going to be classified out of the race and way down the field. But that battle between Patel and Dahl has gone past. He's now got himself about a 6 car length advantage over Mohammed Patel as they work themselves down into Ferradura once again. And also, Mikael Hellen is starting to fall back from the rear of Mohammed Patel as well, as that battle has kind of sorted itself down. So, checking a little bit further back, you've got right now, let's say that battle is going on between Mads Burr and Jason Lover. In fact, right now it's between Mads Burr and Iivonen Fernandez in the battle for the 14th and 15th positions on the racetrack. But these two drivers are also catching Krishna Peschini and Theo Bukek ahead of them on the racetrack. So 11th all the way through to 15th right now, some of them. And they're getting kind of closed back up together.
Good. We need some more racing here. I can see that Bubnek and Chrisman, I think, are teammates as well. So this is going to be difficult to pass those two guys. Looking further up as well, Ren's Ludwig, that's getting a bit tasty. He's very critical now that Pablo's out of the race for Paul Ilbrink to stay a safe finish, because Radicals are at the moment in second position with 71 points.
They are, and in fact we'll run through the team championship as they came into this race in just a moment's time, because it is going to be a fascinating story coming out of the race as well, actually. But right now, the biggest movers in this race, you've got yourself, as I say, in the 4th position right now, Kaukola, who has had a great start. He started this race in 7th, he's currently running in the 4th position. Mohammed Patel also up 4 spots, currently running in the 6th position. In the 8th spot on the racetrack as well, you had yourself Kumini, who's up 6 positions right now. Rens Brokeman up 6 positions, and Anderson up 6 positions as well. So some big movers in the top 10 right now, who's going to need to gain quite a lot of positions early on in this race. And fastest lap of the day so far, that is a time of 1 minute 31.244. And that was set by Marcin Skrzypczak right now in the 25 car. He's still your race leader, but I have to say that Teemu Iivonen in that 2nd spot is holding on, and that gap between the 2nd pretty much all race long.
The gap hasn't moved really. It's always been within 0.2, like each way. So Teemu driving a great race. Maybe he's conserving himself. Maybe he's just cruising around, sitting there.
You were talking, for example, about the tyre temperatures in these cars. As I say, tyre wear is not a big factor in these cars, but tyre temperature is really affect the handling of the car. So for Iivonen, perhaps wanted to keep it out that dirty air zone and see what he can do. I mean, we are now approaching the 2nd half of this race. We'll be at halfway point in about 3 or 4 minutes time. But to check back in on that P11 battle, it's still Paul Ilbrink in that 11th position. He's actually catching Ludwig Anderson and Rens Brokeman a little bit. So the last time past the line, they were separated by just thousandths of a second on the racetrack. As they come past the line once again, Anderson does a 1 minute 33.735. Compare that to a 1 minute 33.526 for Paul Ilbrink. So it looks as though we're going to have ourselves a 6-way battle, which has got at the front of the train Rens Brokeman, who looks like he's struggling right now. Ludwig Anderson in the 10th position, driving for Danielson Motorsport. In the 11th position, Paul Ilbrink driving for Team Radicals. And then you've got yourselves in the 12th position, Theo Bukek. But he's actually fallen back now. And that battle that was going on a little bit ago is kind of calmed itself down. But meanwhile, Mads Burr is trying to look down to the inside right there of Iivonen Fernandez. Wasn't able to get the job done, however. And this is a battle for the 14th and 15th positions on the racetrack. Burr looking to the outside line once again as they come down into Ferradura corner. He won't be able to get the outside line working there. He tried it, but not quite close enough, Mr. Sutherland.
And he just had to brake on the exit at Apex as well, and he's dropped down a little bit now. I think he just went through that corner with a little bit more corner speed. A spin as well, he's taken that place.
Oh, great
he's
move,
lost another one.
Yeah, Fernandez was great there.
Yeah, but Mads is recovering from that turn 3 incident right at the start of the race where he lost it. So he's fighting hard and coming back up through the order. I don't see him being too long before he's on the back of the other pack as well.
And yeah, in the meantime, you have now the battle for the race lead is down to just 4 tenths of a second on the racetrack. So perhaps Teemu Iivonen decided it's time to get going. And that gap right now, so less than half a second on the racetrack. That last time by Iivonen, a 1 minute 32.897. Skrzypczak did a 1 minute 32.969. So all of a sudden, Mr. Cuss, here comes Iivonen.
Exactly. So he just had a strategy to, you know, just cruise around and maintain the gap, and now it's go time. Massida's following as well, so he's towing him along, so this is going to be a great three-way for the race lead very shortly. And it looks like Marcin is struggling a little bit under the pressure of Teemu, so Teemu's a smart racer. He'll wait for a gap, he'll wait for a mistake, he'll just keep the pressure on. And Massida's right on his back door as well now.
Massida is right in his back door. It's going to be a three-way battle for the race lead, and it looks as though Sutherland that, you know, Iivonen was perhaps keeping it calm, but you could also argue that Skrzypczak's tyres perhaps might have overheated a little bit. Let's have a look at his lap times. I mean, he set his fastest lap of the race on lap number 2, 1 minute 31.920. He's been struggling the last couple of laps, 1 minute 33.2, 1 minute 33.1, 1 minute 32.9. Whereas Iivonen has been going at least 2-3 tenths faster than that, lap by lap.
You can see the amount of movement he's doing in some of the slower corners, and his tyres are absolutely cooked now. And now he's on the toe, so he's just shown the inside.
He tried to look down to the inside there, did Teemu Iivonen. In fact, again, that number 25 car getting very squirty through turn 1 and 2. Now Iivonen is going to have a good run as they work themselves through Curve de Sol, as they work themselves down the back straight away. Will Teemu Iivonen try and make the move as they come down into turn number 4? It's going to be very close. He's going defensive already. So Iivonen, he's going to think about going to the outside line. Yes, he will. Don't forget, if he can keep it side by side through the next 2 corners, he'll have the inside line to 6, but he can't try it too much because here comes Massida. He's up already now into the 2nd position. So now it's Massida who's going to make the charge as they work themselves with the infield section once again.
I think Martin's done a lot of karting in his days, because he missed the apex of corner number 1. He knew he had lost coming down the hill on the circuit de Sol. So what did he do? He backed up Teemu right into JB.
That was very good driving there, actually by Massida, because he came down. That move came from absolutely nowhere, and even did get a little bit squirty as they came out of turn number 5. But these 3 drivers right now are separated by less than 3/4 of a second on the racetrack, and we still got ourselves just under 19 minutes worth of racing left to go in the rSeat.net 45 minutes of Interlagos here on Glacier TV. Robinson, Rob Sutherland and Rob Koss in the booth, Yana Kane on cameras, and your top 5. It is Marcin Skrzypczak right now, who is your leader in the 25 car. He's led since those lights went out to start the race. Teemu Iivonen in 2nd position, JB Massida in 3rd, Rami Kaukola in 4th, and then Mikael Hellen rounding out your top 5. And Massida, he's poked down the inside there, Gus, but it's kind of half-assed attempt there.
Yeah, it wasn't. Well, maybe not. Maybe he's just putting his car in the mirrors to scare him. It's what I do to Rob when I race Rob, you know. Stick the car up the inside. He looks in his mirrors, he panics, makes a little mistake, and that's just enough for a driver of these calibers, just to sneak up the inside. I think Teemu's going to sit back personally for another few laps and watch this battle unfold. I don't think he's going to try anything crazy. Probably going to be proved wrong on this next corner, but I think he'll sit back and watch the fight and maybe cool his tyres down a little bit, just go back to pumping in a couple of easy laps and then go again.
So right now you've got 3 different teams represented in the top 3 of these standings, and that Falcon GP car is looking strong, Sutherland, but you're right as well, the ineX racing car of Teemu Iivonen, he is just sat there waiting. We know how good Iivonen can be at just psyching other drivers out. We've seen him so often, for example in the Pro Tour Ice $1,000 Cup Championship. We've seen him before also in the Pro Series and the WCS. We know he's very good at playing mind games with other drivers.
Well, you're saying that, but we're 29 minutes in the race. We've got, or nearly 30 minutes actually, so we've got about 50 minutes left, and playing mind games has lost him a position.
It has, but at the same time, he's still got 17 minutes and 4 seconds left of this race, and there's still a lot of racing left to go.
He better start to get a hurry on.
he needs to, yeah. The important thing is, though, thankfully, he's got himself a 5-second gap to Rami Kaukola, who sat in that 4th position. So right now, it is a 3-way battle for the race lead. And I'm going to have to ask you both the question, is that 25 car on borrowed time right now?
Yeah, personally, I think he is. I think JB's looking in a good position right now, but I think Teemu give it 2-3 laps, and then he'll be back up the front.
The important thing is, however, those 2 drivers can't really fight for position until they get past Marcin, because otherwise, if they do that, Marcin's going to have himself a couple of laps of breathing space, and it will almost be game over. So they almost need to become friends. And you see, through Verdura there, Skrzypczak was very, very wide. and his tyre is absolutely toast. If those two start fighting for second and third position, that's going to allow a get out of jail free card something.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure Teemu's there going, go on, knock him off, knock him off.
Behind him in the 5th position is still Mikael Hellen. He's got himself right now about an 800-second gap to Anders Dahl. And Mohammed Patel, let's talk about him very quickly. He's dropped 2 positions. So that 38 car, he's kind of fallen out of the picture for the time being. A very good start to the race, but it's all come undone for him right now.
Yeah, maybe the contact with Pablo kind of put him off a little bit. Maybe he's got some damage. Who knows?
Who knows indeed.
About
might
5
damage
seconds
his
off
steering.
pace in lap number 16 for Mohammed. Something happened.
Indeed, and meanwhile we are keeping it with the race leader for the time being. This is the best battle we have on the racetrack with 15 minutes left to go in this race. So a total probably of about another 8 laps worth of racing, another 8 times down into the centre S through the curve of the Sol. But those top 3 drivers are separated by half a second on the racetrack right now. And in fact, big shout out to Dave Geink there, just popping up. Marcin is defending incredibly well, completely agreed. He really is driving that car defensively. We saw that Pablo Lopez this evening running right onto the rear of JB Massida there to work themselves down into turn number 4 and 5 once again. We saw this to Pablo Lopez earlier on, that you can defensively drive here. The issue is that you basically right now, that 25 car is mirror driving.
Basically, yeah. I mean, he's doing a brilliant job at it. You know, defensive driving 101 session is in progress, and the boys behind us, you know, they're looking for gaps, they just can't find them. They're trying different lines. You know, if you watch the cars closely, they're, you know, slightly wider on some turns, just trying to get a little bit more of a run. We'll see how they go going up the hill. But it looks like he's got a quick car down the straight as well.
He does, and this comes back to different wing settings. I think, you know, that he might have been running a little bit less wing, so while it looks like he is going wide into some of the corners, he's being able to keep it all together. He's not going wide. He's talking about drivers going wide there. Teo Bubket going very wide there as he came out of turn number 10. That allowed his teammate Kreshmir Pedlinski close right up to rear him, and also Jason Lovett to do the same as well. Group of drivers 11 through 20 is currently Paul Ilbrink in the 11th position, Mads Burt in 12th, and Teo Bubket in the 13th position, Kreshmir Pedlinski in the 14th position, Jason Lovett 15th, Ivan Fernandez in 16th, Matthews van Ruth in 17th, Mikko Salati in 18th, going right down the field for him, Reggie Blaine in the 19th position, and Daniel Andrews running out your top 20. We still have a total of 30 cars on the lead lap, and that battle continues, however, and I'm not quite sure what's going on here for Massida. I think Rob might have hit it perfectly there, though, because I've got a feeling that Massida's running more rear wing, and that's why he's not being able to get past in these straightaways.
Yeah, you'll certainly find that out in the slower corners where it can get quite slidey around. You can see Marcin when he goes into some of the corners and he just takes it a little bit wild, and they just, especially those double apexes, and you can see him close up massively as he takes more speed in, but then he has to lift because there isn't the room to get that exit from the final second of the corner.
I tell you what, last lap I really do expect Massida to have a look down the inside if he hasn't made the move already, and I expect him to probably, I've had a look at the last 3 laps now, his weakest corner for Skrzypczak is turn number 8, and I've got a feeling, Cuss, that if it comes down to the last lap, he'll probably try and force move down the inside at that corner. He's got good straight line speed here, he's got the draft drive, he's closing that gap right now to about a car length, and you'll see right now Skrzypczak will go defensive, so Massida will have to go around the outside line. He's going to try and go all the way to the wall there, thought better of it, to come down into turn number 1. Once again they touch, Massida keeps it together there, and he falls back into the line, but he could get alongside him, but again, great defensive driving by that 25 car, and what this has done right now is allowed Iivonen to perhaps get the run here. He will go side by side, he'll go down to the inside, come down now into the Interlagos, turn number 4 and 5, so now it's going to be Iivonen. If he can complete the pass here, indeed he does, back up into the second position, and a tiny mistake there by Massida, not driving defensively, thinking too much about the car in front, Cuss. That was the difference between him running in second and third.
Exactly. I mean, Massida went for the move on the outside, didn't quite pull it off, and he didn't get the run out of the centre S. That was the key, and Teemu saw it happening early, changed his line slightly and carried more speed, but just made a mistake there, so Massida's going to have the run on him up here. He just got really tail happy. They're both pushing hard, but this is allowing Marcin to get away. Just a quick one as well, Mads Burt is back up to 12th from
Wow.
a crazy first 3 laps incident, and he's fought himself all the way back up to 12th, and he's only 3 seconds off 11th. So, he's trying for a top 10 here, and he's still got time to do it as well.
Well, yeah, that 9th, 10th, 11th battle carries on between Rens Broekman, Olivier Anderson and Paul Ilbrink. Madsberg will come into play on that very quickly. But here comes Massida once again. He's going to try and look to the outside line. Will Iivonen defend? No, he won't. So Massida's going to go down the inside here, down into the center west. It might be a clean pass. You see Iivonen actually breaking early there to allow Massida, but then he goes wide, and I think Massida's tyres are toast.
I think he was pushing hard, yeah, and now Teemu sort of, as I said, cool the tyres. All right, it hasn't happened when I said it happened, and he's got himself, I think, too far back now. But it looks like Massida's been trying too hard and overheated his front tyres, and now he's got an understeering battleship, basically.
Essentially, and I tell you what, it's actually very good thinking there by Iivonen, because what he did, by allowing that issue to present itself at the centre west, he's now being able to get himself about 8 car lengths of clean air between himself and Skrzypczak, and also between himself and Massida. So right now Iivonen is pretty much by himself to charge down that 25 car. We've got ourselves now 10 minutes left to go in this race, and it's going to go all the way to the finish line. Very quickly we'll check in on some of the other battles going on the racetrack. We'll start first of all with Madsberg. He's still trying to close down Paul Ilbrink. Last time by, however, he was faster just than Paul Ilbrink, by about 4 seconds per second. However, Eduardo Zemes is also a lap car coming into play as well, as Ilbrink lost himself a little bit of time there. You've still got the 2 teammates, Simon Bukbeck and Kreshmir Prininsky, running in 13th and 14th position, line of stern. Lovett hasn't been able to do anything between these 2 drivers, but behind them, Matheus van Rens and Evan Fernandez have been having a good battle for the 16th and 17th positions on the racetrack. The rest of the field is kind of strung itself out a little bit. Simon Meglek is still trying to work on Kevin Clark in the battle for the 21st position, but it looks like those top 3 is kind of strung itself out right now.
Yeah, it does. The gap's getting slightly bigger. I mean, the gap's up to 1.2 seconds now, so I don't know. Maybe Teemu's tyres are slightly cooked, and he's got to try and cool them down for a couple of laps as well.
And how will this affect the standings? Well, ineX Racing currently sat in the 2nd position. It'll be a good point haul for them. Falcon GP, they had a slightly disappointing first round of the season, so they'll get themselves some crucial points here. Team GT, they had a good start of the race. They were in 5th coming into this race. They've lost themselves a bit of ground here, so this will be interesting to see where they finish out at the end of this race. But you have to say something, that ineX Racing are still the team to beat with Iivonen in the 1st position. Slightly disappointed in the fact that you've got Jason Lovett all the way down to 15th, however.
Yeah, and he's got 2 cars from Team Interlagos to get past. So, and they are literally line of stern teaming it at the moment. So, and this is what the great situations that can happen in the SDG Racing Department Championship. But yeah, ineX is safe. Let's just see how Mr. Lovett handles. He can stay there. They'll win with points. They'll stretch the lead over the Radicals. Trying to work out what's going to happen to Danielson Motorsports in a minute. And I'm trying to work. Ren Infinity, which is obviously Rens Brockman's part of the Infinity as well, they'll do quite sort of good. And I've never seen Rens have a bad race, but did you mention he was having a bit of a hard time at it?
He was having a bit of a hard time. He's been eating to the front of that pack in that 84 car. He's trying to close down Mohammed Patel right now in that 38 car, who is struggling a little bit right now. Patel last time 1 minute. In fact, Patel's on pit road, and you've got Anders Dahl on pit road as well. So 2 drivers making pit stops here. In this race. So Patel is on pit road, so is Anders Dahl. So they are down to a very slow speeder on pit road. Dahl actually coming out of pit road 45 miles an hour as he came in. Actually looks like Dahl just drove through pit road there. I'm not sure. We'll have a chat with race control to see if he got a penalty, but it looks as though must have been a drive through there for both Anders Dahl and Mohammed Patel, and that's going to drop them both outside of the top 10. I was just about to say actually that the Radicals team will really struggle for points here. You had Paul Ilbrink sat outside of the top 10, but all of a sudden he's kind of back into the picture right now, into that top 10, and that really is going to be damage limitation for that Team Radicals after what happened to Pablo Lopez early in this race, Mr. Cuss.
Indeed. I mean, Paul's got the whole team on his shoulders right now, and he's got a knuckle down. He's got Madsberg closing in as well. There's a lap
Oh
past.
no, sorry, I need to interrupt you. Teemu Iivonen to the race lead there. Skrzypczak, he just got sideways coming out of young Cal, got himself onto the grass a little bit, and Teemu Iivonen to the race lead. Absolutely out of nowhere, just used a little bit too much of the curb. We'll try and get ourselves a replay of that momentarily, but Marcin Skrzypczak in that 25 car out of young Cal corner.
Massida as well.
Yeah.
Massida just, he should have gone for that. He gave him a bit too much room. They had a bit of contact going into turn 1, but he almost got P2 as well. Apparently the drive-through for the Patel car was for contact with Pablo Lopez.
And we saw that, and probably the same for Anders as well. Don't sort of forget that that was a three-way incident there. Anders was on the outside line as they worked themselves through turn number 5. And you have Mohamed Patel as well. Both of those drivers had contact with Pablo Lopez. As Mercedes now down to the inside. If he can keep it going here, we'll get the run out the corner. He won't be able to just go down to the inside. I have to say that Skrzypczak's car looks as though it is absolutely toast right now. Massida all over the rear of it. But while that is going on, Teemu Iivonen is your new race leader, and ineX Racing right now, Sutherland, on the charge. And this really is going to help their championship planning.
Yeah, good. Stretch out. Every bit can help. My God, this is some racing going on between JB and Marcin for second and third. They are driving, very, very angry.
And it looks like both of these cars, their tyres are toast. You saw there coming out of Yonkal corner that Skrzypczak had issues to his car. Massida, he's struggling for grip there. We've got ourselves 4 minutes and 30 seconds left at the line. I tell you what, it is going to be incredibly close. Oh my God! That was... He basically ran it down to the wall. He'll get the inside line. The pass will be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we have just seen there. He just basically drove into the wall. That was... I mean, there's gentlemanly and then there's gentlemanly.
I tell you what. Yeah, he looked for a gap that wasn't there. I tell you what, that must have unnerved Skrzypczak, because it looked as though, coming into the corner, Massida was almost going to bury it into the wall. He was almost going to be out of the race. And when you have a look in your rear view mirror, that must have confused the 25 car. And I think that's what upset him in braking down into turn of 1 as Massida goes sideways.
Well, if he's looking in his mirrors and he sees some guy making contact with the wall, he's got to think, what on earth's that guy going to be doing it into turn number 1?
Crazy stuff here.
The car off the track there, that's a back marker. I wonder if he's going to come on. No, he's sensible and stays out of the way.
Yeah, we'll get confirmation of who that driver is momentarily, and
that's
it is actually
Miguel Angel.
Jaime there in the number 17 car, running in the 32nd position, currently scored 7 laps now.
Paul Ilbrink, side-by-side racing right now for P8 and P9. And Ilbrink holding the inside line.
Outside there was Matt Burr. He's trying to make that outside line work. And again, the way this racetrack works is, you know, they're not making pit stops here. They cannot make a pit stop because of the fact, you know, it's going to cost them too much time. So essentially, they're having to drive in pretty much worn out tyres right now. And you'd have different strategy options, say, in a longer race. But right now, Matt Burr, he's into the top 10 once again at Sutherland. And let's not forget, he had a horrible first couple of laps. He's now back where he qualified in that 9th position, and looking very close to the real Paul Hilbrink.
Well, it's always nice to watch someone out of sequence come through the pack, and he's also lucky enough to have his teammate behind him as well. So,
we've got ourselves a lap and a half probably left to go. Working themselves through some traffic is Massida and Skrzypczak right now in the battle for the 2nd and 3rd position. I have to say though, Teemu Iivonen now up to a 2.2 second lead on the racetrack. And you talked about earlier on, Mr. Cost, that maybe Iivonen might have been keeping those tyres cool, waiting for his moment. He found his moment, and he didn't look as though he was pushing that car at all. As Massida goes sideways, and Skrzypczak's going to go back into the 2nd position. And I'm not sure actually what's happened to Massida. He's back onto the racetrack, but he's lost that 2nd spot.
And Rami's not far behind either. If he makes another mistake, Rami will be right on his boot lid.
Right on his boot lid indeed, and we're going to have to keep an eye out on the clock. It's going to be very close as whether it will be a 1 or a 2 lap warning here at the line. A lap time here takes about 1 minute 53 seconds. So Teemu Iivonen right now, he's worked himself down towards the start finish line. He's not going to make it before 1 minute 30. So therefore, this time by, the white flag will be in hand, and there'll be one more lap to go for Teemu Iivonen in the 20 car. He's got himself at the line, a 3.2 second gap over Marcin Skrzypczak. He's got to keep it together for one more lap to get that second position. JB Massida is going to be charging. He had a very good run there through the center S and also through the curve of the start as well in that third position. But Rami Kaukola will be there to pick up the pieces if anything happens. And don't forget that Rami Kaukola is the teammate to Marcin Skrzypczak as well. So they might, if it all goes wrong, might be to get second and third position there. They could see whether they can try and outside JB Massida in this last half a lap or so. But Massida right on the rear of Skrzypczak as they work himself now into turn number 6 once again. This is where the track tightens up. This is where one lap ago Massida goes sideways. He goes sideways again under braking. Sideways one more time. This is going to allow Rami Kaukola to really close that gap. He's not going to be close enough, but Massida perhaps lost the opportunity now to try and get that second position away. Teemu Iivonen is just pulling away meanwhile in the race lead. He's worked himself now down into young Cow corner for the final time in this race. We talked about how he looked a little bit safe early on in this race. He wasn't pushing the issue too hard as he comes out of young Cow corner for the final time. Team ineX Racing will be at the top of the standings in the STC Race Department Championship, coming out of the 45 minutes of Interlagos presented by rSeat.net. Teemu Iivonen takes victory, a great, well-deserved victory there by the ineX Racing driver, and it is going to be Marcin Skrzypczak who comes home in the second position, and JB Massida will round out your podium.
What a race for those three guys, and there's more races coming up as well. Coming up the hill, you've got Paul Hilbrink's managed to hold off Mads Burr. I'll take my unbiased hat on. Go Radicals, woo! Teemu drove brilliantly, and didn't I call that Mr. Sutherland? Didn't you sort of laughed at me?
Yeah, slight little scoff of derision there, but that's truly very much egg in my face.
No, pie, big pie.
It was very, very good racing between those three drivers. I tell you what, the thing is, like the rest of the field, it kind of spread itself out a little bit after that. We do apologise for not really showing, too much of the other action, but we have to say that, you had that battle, for what is it, 6th through to that 9th position. That went on for a good number of laps, and as soon as that kind of finished, you had the leaders kind of bunch themselves up together again. And I have to say, unfortunately, we didn't get to see Mads Burr charging for the field, but it was a great drive by him. Apart from that, it didn't look as though the rest of the field was a little bit subdued at times once they got them spread out, Sutherland.
Yeah, it was that little battle for 6th position. The best thing about that battle for 6th position, we saw that lovely little four-way, is that Anders Dahl was involved, which means we are going to get a YouTube video out of this with some music on it.
That was a crazy end to the race, I have to say.
He might have to edit out the turn 1 rejoining.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, Mads Burr is probably my driver of the day after his severe lack of talent going into turn 3. He redeemed himself and obviously picked his talent up for going through turn 3 the next time where he dropped it. And he's fought his way back all the way up to 9th. Brilliant.
I'll give that one. Marcin, my driver of the day, because even though he lost the lead, to Teemu, who's a bit of an alien himself. But it was that defensive driving when his tyres were absolutely nailed. He was driving on the edge for a lot of laps.
Yeah, good shout.
I'm going to have to give it to Marcin as well, actually. I mean, yes, he didn't win the race, but those last 4 or 5 laps with JB Massida was absolutely breathtaking to watch. Both those cars had nothing left on their tyres. There was no grip there at all. You saw it every lap for the last 4 laps coming down into turn number 8. JB Massida was just getting sideways, and I have to say, great driving by him as well to just keep that car pointing in the right direction. That Falcon GP car just had no grip at all in the end of the race. But run through your final race results, and it's Teemu Iivonen for ineX Racing taking victory in the rSeat.net. 45 minutes of Interlagos. The gap to himself and Marcin Skrzypczak is 3.2 seconds at the line. JB Massida a further 1 second back, and then at the line, Rami Kaukola only a further 1 second back in that 4th position. Mikael Hellen in the 5th position. Diego Comey, we haven't talked about him, up into 6th position after the drive-through penalties that happened with Anders Dahl and Mohammed Patel. In the 7th position is Ludwig Andersen, 8th position Paul Hilbrink, 9th Mads Burr, 10th Anders Dahl, then Theo Bukic in the 11th position, Kreshmir Prensky in 12th, Mohammed Patel in 13th, Jason Lovatt 14th, Matthias van Riesen in 15th, Mareko Salati in 16th, Ivan Fernandez in 17th, Reggie Blaine 18th, and Kevin Clark in 19th, and then in 20th position, Rent Brokerman. And we'll have to have a look to see what happened to him there, Rob, because he was running in the top 10 at one point.
Yeah, and he finished pretty much side by side with Kevin Clark for 19th. No idea what happened there. That will have to be a Galatian mystery that we'll have to solve at some point.
We'll try and solve it as quickly as possible. Daniel Andres finished the race in the 21st position, Ben Tosting in 22nd, Mark Warrington in the 23rd spot, Alexandre Cateno in 24th, Jan Wedden in 25th, Jerry Daniels in 26th, Philip Widdowson in 27th, and Christos Bagdic in 28th, Tomo Meglek in 29th, and Harry Harrow rounds out your top team. And the rest of the results coming up on your screen momentarily. But Sutherland, what we saw today is the difference between 90 minutes endurance racing and 45 minutes sprint racing. And in 90 minutes endurance racing, you've got things like strategy to fall back on. You've got the gaps that open up over the course of the race. But in 45 minute sprint racing, there's nowhere to hide if your tyres wear out. And we showed that here today.
And very, very dramatically, we showed that again today. Especially with these cars, they do like their understeer. What absolute fantastic racing! We've really focused on maybe 2 or 3 individual fights, but of those fights, we've seen some amazing overtakes, some amazing risks. One of the saves of the day from JB coming down the hill there when his car went completely snapped out from underneath him, and he caught it. And yeah, we've seen an absolutely barnstorming drive from Mr. Teemu.
And to give you an update on what happened to Brokeman, he got himself a drive-through penalty. So that is why he finished in the 20th position. Meanwhile, I'd like to welcome in your rSeat.net race winner, Mr. Teemu Iivonen. Congratulations on winning the rSeat.net 45 minutes of Interlagos.
Thank you very much.
So take us through your race. It looked as like, you know, you got that second position early on, held up for a while, fell back to third, back up into second, and then eventually it just looks as though you had more left in your tyres than anyone else.
Yeah, we decided, or we went for a change in the tyre pressures like half an hour before the race, and I knew that this setup worked pretty good at the end. So there was some fighting going on, and that was an awesome race. Both Marcin and JB should have big credits for that. There was a few 0x's, but that's nothing. That was one of the best, most fun races I've done since I joined iRacing. So that was epic. And yeah, started fighting with Marcin, and JB managed to pass me. And I knew that he was in the draft, so they were gonna start fighting as well. So I was kind of saving my tires towards the end, because I know what treacherous it can be once you start losing the grip. It's just gonna start oversteering out of the exits all the time, and that's basically how I managed to get past Marcin at the end, because his car was sliding so much and he just lost grip on exiting the last corner, and that was like 5 minutes to go of the race, so I just brought the car home after.
And I tell you what, actually, the way the tyres work, of course, you've got the wing that comes into play quite a lot here as well, you know, different wing levels, different straight line speed, but then of course you have the impact in the midsection of the racetrack. Just how dangerous is it if you overwork your tyres too hard too early on?
Quite a lot. I mean, because once the tire starts heating up, if you spin them a few times exiting the corners, you kind of like need to back off and let the tires cool down a bit. Otherwise, you're gonna be sliding all over the track, and eventually something is gonna happen, spin or something like that. So I mean, the draft is worth so much in this car. So there's no point in over pushing if you're in the draft still. So you can still gain all the time back on this one.
And ineX Racing came into this race in first position in the standings. ineX Racing leave this race first position in the standings. Next time out we go to the green hell of Virginia International Raceway for 90 minutes, and that really is going to be yet another tough challenge for all drivers involved.
That's probably gonna be the hardest race of the season, so we just have to make sure that we put the right guys in the cars, because I mean, this was a 45-minute race and my back was all sweaty after that, so I can't even imagine 90 minutes around PIR. It's gonna be crazy, but crazy fun.
Crazy fun indeed, and we'll see you next time out. We'll see ineX Racing next time out. Virginia, the Green Mile, of course, coming in 2 weeks' time. We're going to go to your second place driver. It was a challenge, but Marcin congratulations. It was a tough race. It just looked like you had nothing left in your tyres at the end.
Not really. First of all, congrats Teemu for the win.
Started in first, and you led the way for the majority of that race. Were you hoping that Iivonen and Massida would just kind of carry on fighting to allow you to get yourself a little bit of clean air?
After first laps, I knew that the finish will be hard, and I'll have to defend my position, and that's all.
That mistake, take us through that mistake that coming out of turn 12 at Yonkau, was it just a case that you just trying to get as much grip as possible, use as much of the racetrack, or what happened there when you lost the race lead?
I just missed the corner and go too wide and slide. That's all.
And then the last 3-4 laps, you're racing with Massida, trying to get that second position. You lost second position for once, maybe to get it back up. Just how little grip was there on your race car for those last 2-3 laps?
I was just quite nervous because I lost the first position, so I think pace was dropped down because my nerves. And fight with JB was a little bit hard. It was no intent to push him in the wall. I was only to catch inside line. And after this, his car was a little more damaged than mine, so it was easy to pass because he was sliding on slow corners.
Well, congratulations on your second place finish, and we'll see your team out next time at Virginia. Meanwhile, are you going to be racing next time out?
No, I don't think so.
So we might see you later on in the season. However, Marcin coming home in the second position in this race, Falcon GP World, and JB Massida in the third position. JB, at one point it looks like you could have won that race. At one point it looks like you're going to come home second. Third place, disappointing or well deserved?
Yeah, it was a bit disappointing. I tried everything to overtake, but each time I tried it failed. So in the end I had to settle for third.
And take us through your race, because you were able to get past Teemu Iivonen at one point. Then you were trying to work on Marcin in that battle for first position. But did you just use your tyres too much at that stage of the race, or could you perhaps maybe have saved the tyres a little bit more to go for it more at the end?
I think if I tried to save the tyre a little more, I wouldn't be so fast. So I tried everything. I went 100% from the start to the finish. So yeah, in the end the tyres were a bit dead.
Tyres were a little bit dead. I tell you what, as well, your car must have been a little bit dead after hitting that wall at the start
yeah.
finish rate. Take us through that.
Well, I had the run on Marcin at the beginning of the straight, so I knew he was going to defend on the inside. So I went outside at first, and I noticed he left a little gap on the inside. So I dived there, and then boom, he closes the door, and I'm into the wall. Bad luck.
Bad luck indeed, but I mean, third place, you still happy with that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Well, and of course, next time out, we're going to the Greenhouse, we're going to Virginia. 19 minutes, are you going to be racing now, or are you handing it over to one of your teammates?
I will not be racing now.
Well, we'll see you later on in the season then, and congratulations on third place there, JB Massida. In the number 37 machine. Got time to talk to the rest of the top 5, starting very quickly with Rami Kaukola, 66 car coming home in the 4th position, so 2 of the RPM guys in the top 5. Rami, you've got to be pleased with that, having yourself and your teammates both represented in the top 5.
Yes, I'm very happy for that result. So, very happy for Team RPM.
Thanks for your race. Again, nice solid start for you. Don't forget, you started in 7th, so you were able to make yourself up a lot of ground early on in the race. Was that important, being able to get yourself into like clean air?
My start was really good, and I tried to follow the leaders, but after 4 or 5 laps, I couldn't. I started to do little mistakes and was not able to keep up with those mid 32 laps times. So.
You weren't able to keep up. I mean, at the end of the race, you could see that you were closing that gap to Marcin, your teammate, but also JB Massida as well. I'm guessing you're one of those drivers that wish that race went on for another 5 minutes, because you perhaps could have ended up in the second position.
Yes, maybe we have. But, I have nothing problems with my tires, but my car was not going any faster than a high 32, so driver sucks.
You can say the driver sucks, but he's still coming home in the 4th position, so very good showing for you there. But going to Virginia in 2 weeks' time, are you going to be racing there?
Don't know. We have nothing. We have talked about that yet.
And for, well, we might see you at Virginia in 2 weeks' time, and congratulations again, not only to yourself for 4th place, but Team RPM, easily the best showing of the day here in the second round of the Race Department STC Championship. Finally, we're going to talk to Mikael Hellen, coming home in the 5th position. And Mikael, at one point, it looks as though you're involved in a lot of battles. You come home in 5th position, and glad of that?
Yeah, definitely. A lot than I hoped for. I was hoping for maybe a top 15 at the best. Mostly because I was actually not supposed to race this race, so didn't really prepare very much for it. So definitely more surprised and happy for 5th position.
You started this race in the 8th position. Again, a pretty good start by you as well. How important was it being able to get a good qualifying in a race which, stuck behind other drivers in that dirty air? It seemed to be, one of the weakest, one of the most difficult things for drivers to deal with in this race. How important was it to kind of find a little bit of clean air during the race?
As I drive the Sebring in the first round as well, I pretty much knew the strength of the field. So no matter what track, it will be important to qualify very high up, because in this field there is no easy overtaking. So, well, yeah, it is important. Easy as that.
It's important, and you talk about the fact, you've raced 2 rounds so far, which means you've only got 1 more round which you're eligible to enter. Is that going to be at Virginia next week, or are you going to take a couple of weeks off?
No, next appearance, we're still sticking to the plan as we changed it to this week, would be Spa. So and we'll see about that. That's the first decision we made, at least, so we'll see if it's that.
Spa being the 5th round of the championship, so a nice month off there for Mikael, even coming home in the 5th position, so good job by him. Final thoughts, first of all, Mr. Rob Cuss. Race victory goes to Team ineX Racing, but RPM guys, 2 drivers in the top 5.
Amazing team performance. As it's a team event, by far the best performance. As a team they've obviously worked hard, but it's kind of crazy they didn't know quite sure who was racing, and people racing with no practice to aim for a top 15 and then to come home 5th with no practice is actually astonishing, to drive that well as well, because I did watch him for a few laps, and clean lines, just drove super good, and did a great team job. So impressive, super impressive.
And Mr. Sutherland, great performances in the top 3. Of course, we're going to have to talk about the unluckiest guy in iRacing, Pablo Lopez, once again out of the race early on. He perhaps could have come into play if the race when EDF was able to stay in the race longer.
Well, to be fair, the last time I watched Pablo race at Interlagos, he made it a whole 3 corners. So he has a vast improvement from this time. But yeah, very unlucky. All of those cars are racing in each other's boxes essentially. So someone had to come off worse, and Pablo was kind enough to volunteer.
And good call by the race steward for giving the penalty to Patel and to Dahl.
I don't really know. There was a lot of stuff. Dahl certainly came off and on with gusto, so to speak. But Mohammed, it was just a little bit unlucky. Just caught the front of his car.
And unfortunately, that is all we have time for in the second round of the Race Department STC Blue Cut. Time will be on air, will be on the STC anyway, will be in 2 weeks' time at Virginia International Raceway, the track that measures over 5 kilometers in length, known as the Green Hell. So many tough corners for the drivers to tackle there. The rSeat.net 90 minutes of Virginia. We're coming to you in 2 weeks' time here at Live on Glacier TV. Don't forget, Glacier TV also your home for the 2013 iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series, and the next time we'll be out on that will be in just over 1 week's time. So don't forget, keep in contact glaciertv.com for all the latest information and standings. And for myself, Will Vincent, who's been in a little bit of a Rob sandwich in this race, it's time to say goodbye. From me, Will Vincent, from Mount Royal Cross, from Rob Sutherland as well, and from the Automatic here. Bye-bye!